Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender. I have Cody Dericks from Next Best Picture back with me today to give our final predictions video. Cody, we're talking the acting categories today. 3 of those seemed pretty well locked up, as we'll talk about. I mean, there could be a surprising actor, but actress, whoa, like boy, oh boy, like actress could go a couple different ways, as we'll talk about. How are we doing, Cody?
We're doing well. As usual, Best Actress, as it seems to be every year, is just... It's great. It's fun. I'm having fun. My predictions, I feel so confident in them. Everybody should listen to me.
Yeah, what is it with actress, man? I mean, it's like, you think one of these years we'll just have a sweep. Like, just someone we're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be her. But it's not lately. It seems to be up in the air. Like this year, the year before that, it's been kind of a question mark.
The last time I felt really good about a prediction in Best Actress was Jessica Chastain, and even that wasn't, locked in. Before that, it was Renee and Judy, I guess, which was totally
that was so dull.
Award year. So be careful what you wish for. Next time there's a really boring Oscar year, when we're talking about the supporting categories, be very careful, because those of you out there who are now stressing out about your predictions, remember this.
Yeah. And videos like this are not much fun to make if we know exactly who's winning. Like, imagine doing this video, Cody, in early 2020 when we had those 4 sweepers in acting. Like Renee Zellweger for Judy. Like, what would we talk about?
How your day was. What you're hoping to do over the weekend.
Yeah.
What you're getting for lunch.
What do you think Brad Pitt's going to say in his speech?
Right.
Oh, great. Okay. So before we get before we get to the acting categories, Cody, real quick, now that SAG has happened and Conclave won Best Cast, are you still feeling confident that Anora is winning, like picture, director, original screenplay?
Confidence is a funny word. I don't. I think what this indicates is, like I always assumed, Conclave is and was a popular movie. Mm-hmm. The SAGs have a very populist voting base. We'll talk about this when we get to Best Actor.
Yeah.
And I think Conclave is a movie that's going to do well on a preferential ballot. It won the BAFTA. All well and good. But I just struggle to see why it didn't win PGA. That feels like an award that it should have won. Preferential ballots. If we're rewarding the movie, which... this isn't always the case with PGA, but if we're rewarding a movie for, producing, it made a very respectable amount of money for the type of movie it is and the budget it's at. So you'd think the PGA would want to award those types of things, and they didn't. They went with Anora. And PGA-DGA combo, which Anora has, is really hard to beat. It's only happened 3 times in the expanded era with La La Land, Gravity, which... 12 Years a Slave tied the PGA, so you can kind of count that, you kind of can't, and 1917. And La La Land still ended up winning Best Director. 1917, that was a weird Oscar year for the top categories. So I struggle to see a world where Anora doesn't win at least Picture or Director, and it's easy to just say it's going to win both, because I don't know what else is going to win Director at this point, and it would be weird if Anora only won Director. That doesn't make sense.
I know. I've just been thinking, like Conclave taking Best Film at BAFTA, now SAG Ensemble. I'm like, I'm not going to count out Conclave in Picture at the Oscars. Like, even though it lost to PGA, Anora has been weak enough this whole season. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if Anora wins Picture now. Like, it might be Conclave.
At this point, you just have to look at what you got and just make a call. You look at Conclave winning BAFTA and SAG, a very great win combo. It didn't win WGA because it wasn't eligible, but you have to assume it probably would have won there, but it didn't. And then you have to look at Anora, PGA, DGA, WGA. Also very respectable. And 3 Guild wins that are really great precursors for your Best Picture chances. And weirdly, I still feel like Anora's best chance for an Oscar is Best Picture, which is really odd. I even think there's a chance that this might be the year we all have predicted might happen, where a movie wins just Best Picture. I'm not predicting that because,
that
oh
would
my
be
god,
crazy.
it would be awesome. It happened at Critics' Choice, but I'm not switching to Conclave at this point. I'm just not. I'm sticking with Anora.
There's enough weakness still to Conclave. Like, it doesn't have a director nomination, cinematography. But I do feel like it's close. It's very close. And if it's not Anora for picture, I'm not going to be shocked. Cody, we could go on and on about all of this, but the viewers are here for our acting Oscar predictions. So let's get to it. Let's get the supporting categories out of the way because there's not much to say. The nominees for Best Supporting Actor are Yura Borisov, Anora, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. I still had some hope, Cody, for a surprise at SAG like an Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. But no. Like, at this point, like, if Culkin were to lose the Oscar, would that be just, like, totally unprecedented in the history of the Academy Award in the modern era?
I'm gonna probably repeat myself with Zoe Saldana, but the last time somebody won all 4 of the major precursors, Globe, BAFTA, Critics' Choice, SAG, and eventually lost the Oscar was Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind.
Right.
Nearly a quarter of a century ago. And also there were extraneous circumstances around that loss that had nothing to do with his performance. You can look it up. It would be one of the biggest shocks in modern Oscar history if either of the supporting categories went a different way than they have so far.
Yeah, the Crow thing, I always attributed that to he had just won the Oscar for Best Actor the year before for Gladiator, and there was the whole BAFTA thing, like where something happened and there was some controversy, and everybody wanted Denzel Washington to win an Oscar for Best Actor, so that I think that just it probably was close because A Beautiful Mind did end up winning picture that year and stuff. I was just like, that made sense because of the Oscar thing. Like, if, as we'll talk about an actor, like if Adrian Brody had just won an Oscar for Best Actor like last year, but he had lost, everything else, then Chalamet, like we'd have to really take him seriously. But in supporting actor, outside of A Real Pain not being in picture, there's zero evidence to suggest that Culkin could lose there now. He's won everything he's needed. A Real Pain is very beloved. It's won screenplay prizes this season. It was probably in 11th place for the Oscar nomination. Probably was very close. I'm excited for Kieran Culkin to win an Academy Award. That's all I have to say.
Right, and to further the point, I don't really know who his closest competition is, which is not the same in the lead acting categories or even in supporting actress. You could say Edward Norton because his film is generally liked. It's his 4th nomination, but he hasn't won anything. You could say Guy Pearce, but he's had some misses. He wasn't even at SAG.
He needed to win a BAFTA, Guy Pearce. That would have been cool.
You could say Yura Borisov, I guess, if you want to, because his movie is so strong, but I don't see that happening with that type of performance. So yeah, this is just Kieran. If he loses, we will not have seen anything like that loss if he loses.
How many people are going to predict someone other than Culkin?
Somebody trying to make headlines, clickbaity bullshit.
One person on a video, guys, it's gonna be Jeremy Strong.
Yeah.
I know he hasn't won anything yet. Yeah, Edward Norton was the only one because A Complete Unknown overperformed at SAG, and Norton is on his 4th nomination without a win. I was like, if Norton could win at SAG, then there's a small chance. But it didn't happen. And I just think that performance by Culkin, it's such a force of nature kind of performance. I mean, he really makes that movie special. It's such a great role for him. And, going back to when I was a kid, growing up with Macaulay Culkin and Kieran Culkin in the movies, Culkin's in Father of the Bride and stuff. And, he's so great in Igby Goes Down. And Culkin's had a really nice career. It's been fun to see him really have a comeback, I would say, the last few years with Succession and him winning, an Emmy and stuff there. And then the timing of A Real Pain for him, I just think was perfect. Yeah. So he's winning.
Yeah. To your point, it's such an Academy-friendly performance. It's even doing that thing of, it's a lead in supporting, which lately they love to reward. The only ding against it is that it's not in Best Picture.
That's it.
But I
It's the only
don't
thing.
think that matters. It's been such a dominant awards performance.
Yeah. Does that bother you, Cody, that we have 4 lead performances winning at the Oscars this year?
You've heard what I say about category fraud. I don't really care, but also it's a little silly. It's silly objectively that Zoe Saldana and Ariana Grande are competing against Isabella Rossellini, who has
3
a
lines.
16th of the screen time that they do.
Yeah. But, Saldana, you can kind of make the case that supporting, it's a, big ensemble film, really, whereas A Real Pain, Culkin is the lead of that movie. But that's okay, because he's great.
I think in my, most good faith argument, you could say it's a story about Jesse Eisenberg,
Yep.
and Kieran Culkin is the disruptive force in his life.
Uh-huh.
So therefore, Kieran is the supporting story. Or, to your point about Zoe Saldana, you could say that everybody in that, it's an ensemble, everybody's supporting, but they have to bump Carla Sofia Gascon down as well. So,
yeah,
I don't know. And the movie starts and ends. Zoe feels like the bigger category fraud. The movie starts and ends with her. She's she's the compelling force of the story. It's through her perspective. I don't really get that one.
Doesn't A Real Pain begin and end with Culkin?
It technically does. It's bookends. It's thematic bookends. It's not the story starts with him picking up his bags and going to the airport. It's more for the story rather than his character.
There is enough evidence to suggest Culkin in that film you could consider supporting. He's just in a lot of the movie. That's what I think most people just, they're like, wow, when are we going to get a Rossellini type Oscar win? Something that's really brief in a movie. That would be kind of neat to see that happen.
Jamie Lee Curtis has something she'd like to say to you.
Yeah. Right. When I was thinking about that category 2 years ago, I was like, Curtis isn't going to win for that. She's not in it enough.
But narrative trumps screen time.
Came along with that movie. Yeah, so I think we're, we're kind of gifted, Cody, that we were able to talk about this category for as long as we did. I feel like it could have been 30 seconds, what's there to say?
We're chatty.
We're chatty. We're a chatty duo here. But yeah, our final prediction to win Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars is Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. All right, next up is Best Supporting Actress. The nominees are Monica Barbaro, A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande, Wicked, Felicity Jones, The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini, Conclave, and Zoe Saldana, Emilia Perez. So Ariana Grande's Last Stand, Cody, was at SAG. They really loved that movie there. As the show started, I thought, Grande might do it. I'm not feeling a Revo. I just think that category is too competitive. But I'm like, if there's one place Grande can win, it's here. And when they went with Saldana, I said, it's over. There's no way Saldana can lose the Oscar now, right?
It's just done. I mean, she's swept this category ever since she started winning awards at Cannes, almost a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there's controversy around Emilia Perez. I don't think that's going to affect her. In fact, weirdly, I think it might help her. I could see a voting contingent feel bad for her that she's mixed up in all this in what's supposed to be her big moment, her big career moment. She also is headlining the best moment in the film, which is also going to win Best Song, and it's is the song helping her performance to win the Oscar, vice versa, both, possibly, because those are likely the two wins that Emilia Perez is going to get. And I just think there's little reason to doubt her. Also, this is kind of a career win. Granted, she's not an older actor, but she's been working for a long time, 20 plus years. She's made a lot of people a lot of money. She worked in the Avatar movies, she worked in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, she worked in the Star Trek movies, so she's a known figure who probably has a box office gross in the upper billions.
Mm-hmm.
So people want to vote for her, and just like with Kieran Culkin, you can say Ariana Grande is the second place, but she has not manifested the love for her performance into a tangible win. I do think she's a clear runner-up.
Yeah.
But she's done nothing in this precursor run to show that voters want to reward her performance.
Yeah. I do think it's a bummer. I don't know about you. Like, I was so skeptical about Ariana Grande, playing Glinda in Wicked for months. I'm like, she'll be fine. And God, she just blew me away in that movie. She was so great. I went, holy shit, she's getting an Oscar nomination for that, for sure. Wow.
And to be clear, I would vote for her, and I predicted her to win for a while. I thought she would get the Globe. And then I held on to that prediction, I think, until BAFTA, thinking that SAG would resuscitate her until I just saw the writing on the wall. But it's just not happening. Maybe for good. Probably not, but we'll see.
I've been saying for many weeks, I'm like, because there's a part 2 coming, I do think that has hurt Grande and Erivo, just knowing that there's another chance to reward them in a year, which could happen, we'll see. But yeah, that performance by Grande deserved to win something this season, and it's too bad we did have this sweep. I don't think that was necessary, but I love Zoe Saldana. I've always adored her. I think she's so great. What a rich body of work she has, both in film and TV. And Emilia Perez got 13 nominations, so like that movie's winning a couple things. Like, it's not going home empty-handed. As we talked about with Culkin, it's basically unprecedented to win all of these precursors and then lose the Oscar because of the controversy around Emilia Perez. I guess you could say, well, maybe the Academy voters are just like, they just go against that movie, but she's just way too strong at this point, and she is winning.
She's outside of that controversy. It's become so focused on Carla Sofia Gascon and, to a lesser degree, Jacques Audiard. And Zoe's navigated it kind of flawlessly. I don't think voters who were already going to vote for her are going to go, I'm taking my vote away, Zoe, because you were in that movie that has this controversy that has nothing to do with you.
Has nothing to do with you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my favorite in this category is still Felicity Jones in The Brutalist. That is a dynamite performance that has just, not really been talked about much this season. She wasn't even nominated at SAG. That was bizarre. So, her win was getting the Oscar nomination, and that's great. But, Saldana is winning an Oscar, and she is one of those actors, whatever the movie is, to know that Saldana has won an Academy Award, that fills my heart with joy. I really like that. So, I know a lot of people are hating on this win, right? People are like, oh my God, this is one of the worst acting wins of the decade, and I do not feel that, Cody. I'm not there.
Come on. People are hyperbolic. She's a good actor giving a good performance in a movie that people don't like. And that happens all the time. And frankly, that's the kind of performance I want to see rewarded more often. I want the Academy to go outside of their wheelhouse and reward performances in movies that otherwise aren't liked. Now, Emilia Perez is liked by the Oscars. But yeah, Zoe is a great actress. I've been rooting for her to be in contention for an Oscar since Avatar. I think she should have been nominated for that, frankly. But this is going to be a good win for a good actress. I'm happy to see it happening, even if I wouldn't vote for her. But she should feel pretty confident going in that she's going to win.
Yeah. So no last minute, alternate, someone pulling this out. Jamie Lee Curtis is not going to win for The Last Showgirl, even though she's not nominated.
She's not winning on a write-in. No.
Write-in vote.
She's not going to stage
Betty
a
Davis. Betty Davis of Human Bondage. They open the envelope. Winning in a write-in vote. It's Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl, and she's winning. She's in the back of the room, she comes up like this.
Yes, she'll win Best Supporting Actress with 2 C's. She can win that category, which is different than this category.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if Culkin or Saldana lost. Imagine going through the season and winning everything, and then you don't win the Oscar. I mean, it happened with Crow, as we said. But that would be devastating, right? That'd be like, what? That would be crazy.
It would be devastating. It's like that thing you hear about Olympic athletes who get the silver medal being more devastated than athletes who get the bronze because they were this close to it, as opposed to, you're just placed. You're happy to be here. And also, if they were to lose either of them in the supporting categories, there will have been no way for people like us to have guessed that properly because it would have been based on no evidence. So it would just throw the prediction game out the window.
No, if I came on here and confidently said to you, Cody, I'm like, I know she hasn't won. I think at the Oscars it's going to be Ariana Grande. Like, that's who I'm going with. You and the world would say I'm insane.
Right? I would assume you had a contact at the accounting firm that tabulates the ballots.
It's like we did a SAG predictions video, Oscar expert brother bro and me. We predicted Chalamet to win actor. And like so many comments, Cody, dozens of people called us crazy and morons. Like, guys, Chalamet hasn't won anything. It's gonna be Brody. Who won?
Right. There's evidence in certain races that you, and also just people like us who've been doing this for a long time, things you can just feel. I don't feel anything but certainty for these two supporting categories. And again, I do not know who you could predict for second place. I guess you could say Ariana Grande. I have no idea who you could say for supporting actor. Yeah. And I don't have strong evidence for any of them.
Yeah. I mean, like, at SAG, I could not confidently predict Norton or Grande. I just couldn't do it. So if I can't do it there, like, I couldn't do it at the Oscars. That would be insane. So yeah, anything else to say? I think we got this. We got this? We got this. I'm feeling pretty good about this prediction. Our final prediction to win Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars is Zoe Saldana, Emilia Perez. Okay, next up, Cody, is Best Actor. The nominees are Adrien Brody, The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet, A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes, Conclave, and Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. Okay. As I correctly predicted at SAG, Timothy Chalamet won for A Complete Unknown. Does this mean Chalamet wins the Oscar, Cody? What do you think?
I don't think so.
Right.
Sorry, Chalamet fans. I think this was a bit of a blip for a few reasons.
Okay.
One, looking at the SAG Awards themselves, as an individual voting body, they loved A Complete Unknown. They gave it 4 nominations. They were the first and only place to give Monica Barbaro a nomination before her Oscar nomination.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they're also a much more populist voting base. There is a much wider array of voters. There are TikTok influencers on here. So somebody popular like Chalamet is going to do well here, especially with a movie that is also very popular, as opposed to Adrien Brody, who was the sole nominee for The Brutalist, because Guy Pearce, Felicity Jones, and the cast were not nominated. So I was predicting Adrien Brody at the end because I felt the general surge of the season that it might just be a clean sweep. But Chalamet winning here didn't surprise me, and also, frankly, it doesn't affect my final Oscar prediction. It just makes it more uncertain.
So I was thinking about last year, Cody, how Emma Stone, she won the Globe, she won Critics' Choice, she won BAFTA, and then Lily Gladstone, kind of surprised at SAG, and then almost everybody shifted to Gladstone to win the Oscar. So why not for Chalamet? Why is this a different situation?
Well, Gladstone also won the Globe because they were in 2 different categories. So there was a bit more even footing last year.
Okay.
Whereas Chalamet only has SAG this year. It's hard to win the Oscar with just SAG. The last person to do it was Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. That was a much more disparate, fractured precursor race where it was split between 3 people. It was her, Angela Bassett, and Carrie Condon, as opposed to a solid 2 like this year.
Right.
Before that, you have to go all the way back to Morgan Freeman for $1 Million Baby, who was the last person before Jamie Lee Curtis to win.
Wow, that
with
long?
Just SAG.
Holy cow.
And that was also a very fractured race where Thomas Hayden Church was picking up precursors. Clive Owen was doing very well.
Right.
So this year, where it's one person winning a lot of things, and then there is a kind of a surprise-ish major win towards the end of the road, I'm not really factoring it in as much as I would with those races. And also, if you want to get even more nitty-gritty, it's never happened in Best Actor. Never.
Yeah.
I don't think Oscar voters think like that, but it's just one more thing to consider. So, I just think the general narrative of Adrien Brody, of he is kind of making a comeback, his movie is more favorable to the Oscars, it's probably going to win, even without Adrien Brody, 2 to 3 Oscars. And his general appreciation for this performance I think it's still going to be Adrian Brody. Not to mention the fact that Timothée Chalamet is very young. He would become the youngest Best Actor winner ever, beating Adrian Brody's record.
By just a few months, right?
By
Aren't
just
they
a few
both
months, right.
29? Yeah.
Timmy just turned 29 in December, and Adrian Brody won the Oscar when he was like a month away from turning 30.
30, okay.
So they have about 8 months on each other.
Yeah.
So
I would feel better about Chalamet if he had gone musical comedy at the Globes and had won that.
Absolutely.
And then we'd have, okay, they both won at the Globes. Then we'd have a little bit more to think about. I also would feel better about Chalamet if Oscar voting was still happening, like if we had 3 more days of voting or something. But didn't voting close like almost a week, maybe a week ago? It was like right after BAFTA.
It closed before the awards, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, so it doesn't seem like this win for Chalamet is like a huge boost for him to potentially win the Oscar. I do feel like at this point, a complete unknown probably wins 0, right, at the Oscars if Chalamet doesn't take it. I don't think that's predicted to win anything in the technicals. So,
maybe sound, but probably
maybe sound.
Not.
Yeah,
probably not.
So yeah, Adrian Brody. I mean, it gives me a little bit of pause. Like going into SAG, most of us were like, well, even if Chalamet wins here, Brody's taking the Oscar, right? And a small part of me, Cody, wonders if maybe we're being a little bit too confident, too cocky about the Brody thing. He has won before, like maybe the Academy, in terms of wins for The Brutalist, maybe it's not going to do as well as we think. We're not predicting it to win director or picture or screenplay.
No.
So I'm like, there is a little bit of doubt in me. It's possible Chalamet could do it.
Oh, certainly. And to your point, Adrian Brody is the only previous winner of all of the Oscar nominees, which is weird.
Including Ray Fiennes, who's so great. It's like, God, he couldn't win anything this season.
Exactly. It is tough. And the funny thing is, when that trailer for A Complete Unknown came out this past summer, I said he's winning the Oscar. And if I could have seen what would happen this season with his movie in general, a bunch of Oscar nominations, SAG win, good box office, good performance, it would be hard for me at the time to go, well, how is he losing the Oscar? But Adrian Brody's performance, I think, is the type of performance that could just win the Oscar anyway.
Yeah. I mean, what it comes down to for me, like Brody has done very well this season. It's just an incredible performance he gives in The Brutalist. And I'm like, if you're going to give that movie one Oscar, like Brody is it. Like I walked out of that movie at TIFF. I said, that's our winner for Best Actor. Like he's that good. And I'm just like, just losing at SAG, but nowhere else. I just don't think that's enough for Brody to lose the Oscar. The Brutalist got in everywhere it needed to. It is still competitive, I would say, to win director, maybe. And it got into supporting actress at the Oscars. They clearly really took to that film. And I just think the emotional heft of that performance by Brody will win out at the end, at the Oscars.
I think I agree. I don't feel amazing about it, but I'm gonna stick with Adrian Brody.
It would be, I'm not going to be sad and pissed off if it's Chalamet at the Oscars. That would be kind of a cool surprise. Even with the SAG win, Cody, I still think it would be a shocker. Like if Chalamet won the Oscar, we'd be like, whoa, wow, really?
It would feel surprising. Cool. I think it would also feel surprising because Timothée Chalamet feels like the kind of performer that when they give him his Oscar, because he's going to win an Oscar one day, it's going to happen. It'll be an all-season thing. It'll be he'll be being put on the pedestal. It'll be probably a sweep. So I think for him to kind of trip into an Oscar at the end of this season
weird.
Feels not correct story-wise. Which, granted, Oscar voters don't always consider that. They just vote for their favorite most of the time or whatever. So I have a feeling that they're going to make Timothy wait, like they did with Leo, like they did with Brad Pitt, like they did with lots of actors who get an award nomination young in their career, but they make wait. I just think they're going to make him wait a little bit longer. Even though he has 2 nominations now, which makes him feel almost overdue.
Yeah, if we're going to compare Chalamet to DiCaprio, Chalamet is at the Aviator stage right now.
Exactly. Biopic.
DiCaprio won the Golden Globe for The Aviator, and then nothing else, if I remember right. that year.
That sounds right.
That was the year of Jamie Foxx. Like I think he swept pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But DiCaprio won in drama at the Globes. So that's kind of the stage right now for Chalamet. Like, yep, you're gonna win for something, but it will be more of a sweep in the years to come. That does make sense to me. Even though Adrien Brody has an Oscar, it's been 22 years, as we found out last year with Emma Stone. Awards voters, like at the Oscars, they don't really care that much if you've won, if they really love your performance. And again, I just think Brody is that good in The Brutalist. Even if it's a little bit closer now than maybe it was before SAG, I'm going to go with Brody.
I wouldn't call Brody's previous win a deterrent to Oscar voters, especially right now, because, like you said, they're totally fine with giving people multiple Oscars quickly. Renee Zellweger, Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
It happens lately. Frances McDormand.
Tom Hanks.
I mean, that was
2 years in a row.
Years ago. But I mean, specifically lately, the Academy is not precious about throwing Oscars at people that already have them. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about Adrien Brody's win, again, like a quarter of a century ago, affecting his chances this year. In fact, it may even be the kind of thing where Oscar voters go, he was really good in The Pianist, and he had kind of a rough 20 years since then, and we want to just make almost a return on our investment by giving him another and saying, welcome back, here's your second Academy Award.
Yeah. And I kind of like that he wins 2 Best Actor Oscars for similarly, like, titled films, The Pianist, The Brutalist.
The Man Who Does Something.
Something, more than 20 years apart. I just think based on the strength of the performance itself, I just think Brody's going to do it. I think I will be surprised at this point, even with that SAG win, if Chalamet takes the Oscar. I just don't see it.
I would react like this. Oh, like I wouldn't be blown away, but I would.
That's
be
all
surprised.
you'll just go. Oh,
that's usually the most I get in terms of surprise reactions at the Oscars.
After months
maybe
of
like
analysis.
Whoa.
I am
that's
much.
It. I don't jump out of my chair.
I am much more animated, Cody. If there's a big surprise, if someone I really want to win takes it, I'm jumping up and down. Sometimes I'm filmed, sometimes I'm not. But I don't just go,
I just kind of absorb it, and I process it later.
In a month, I will process that win. So yeah, we're feeling good about Brody? I think it's going to be Brody.
I'm like 60-40.
Really? That close? I'm like 70-30. I'm like 70-30. 70, it's going to be Brody.
When Timmy won at the SAGs, I went, that makes sense.
That makes sense for SAG.
I did not immediately go, oh my god, Adrien Brody, throw away your speech. Like, I did not think this was disastrous to Adrien Brody's chances. No. It does mean that it's not as locked in as supporting actor or actress. Yeah. But I am still predicting Adrien Brody.
If Chalamet had surprised a BAFTA, like kind of how Austin Butler won for Elvis 2 years ago at BAFTA, if Chalamet had won BAFTA SAG, then we'd be having a different conversation right now.
If you win BAFTA SAG, you're winning the Oscar. I don't bet against that as a rule. No way. Yeah. But it didn't happen.
Yeah. So, I'm like 70-30 in Brody's favor. As we've talked about, it could be Chalamet. It's not going to be a huge shocker, and I will be very thrilled for Chalamet if that happens. But I think, like, for my prediction, at this point at the Oscars, I've got to go with Brody. Cody feels the same way. So, for Best Actor at the Oscars, our final prediction is Adrien Brody, The Brutalist. Okay, Cody. There's one more category left we got to talk about. I don't know if you've heard of this one. It's called Best Actress.
Oh. As a homosexual, I've never heard of such a thing.
As homosexuals,
what do you mean?
We're kind of obsessed with Best Actress. That's my favorite category always. It's like the one I pay most attention to. And as it is every year, it seems like lately, Cody, we have a race, and oh boy, there's stuff to talk about. The nominees for Best Actress at the Oscars are Cynthia Erivo, Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon, Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison, Honora, Demi Moore, The Substance, and Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. How are we feeling, Cody? This is a race, man. What is going to happen in Best Actress?
I'm excited. I'm excited to tell myself. I'm excited.
This is like the closest it's ever been. Like, is this the closest it's been in a long time? I mean, you could argue it's about 50-50 right now between Moore and Madison.
It's close to the Cate Blanchett Michelle Yeoh year. That was pretty close.
Yeah. But
and the
everything
Frances
everywhere all at
McDormand-
once was surging at that point. It was like
Right.
overperforming.
I feel like we both
At
predicted that
SAG.
correctly. It just felt kind of correct by the end.
Yeah.
Um,
Honora is not everything everywhere all at once. Like that,
Mm-mm.
Honora is having some vulnerabilities here for Madison.
Yeah. The Nomadland year was so widespread that you can't call it like it was
Yeah.
close. It was really just a... But this year... ugh. I mean, and the funny thing is I can hear listeners going, well, you just said that Timothy Chalamet has no chance after just winning SAG, so like why would Mikey Madison have a chance after just winning BAFTA?
BAFTA's
It's
different.
different. BAFTA, you have a better chance of winning the Oscar if you just win the BAFTA. Anthony Hopkins did it for The Father.
Yep. And McDormand for Nomadland. But
which was the Best Picture winner.
But Best Actress that year, as you said, that was chaotic. Someone new was winning at every
Yes.
ceremony. Demi Moore
Yes.
has won the Globe, Critics' Choice, and SAG, Cody.
Correct. And I am still predicting her.
Me too. I'm going with Demi.
And I feel like I'm about to talk myself into not doing that because I last night was looking back at my records, as you do at 11 o'clock on a weekend night in your, and I found that a lot of times when there was a surprise Oscar win, oftentimes the BAFTAs predicted it. Which makes me think that Mikey Madison does have a very solid chance here.
Yeah.
I would basically call this a coin toss. Honora's going to win Best Picture, probably. It's almost certainly going to win Best Director. It's probably going to win Best Original Screenplay. It might win Best Editing. At that point, you look at it and you go, why wouldn't they give it to Honora? Why wouldn't they give it to the Best Actress nominee, playing the titular role in a movie that is so dependent on her performance? But then again, Demi Moore, Globe Critics' Choice, SAG, and a phenomenal narrative. That may be even the most important part of everything that she has going for her. She keeps giving these amazing speeches. She keeps subtly hammering home the fact that she's been working in this industry for so long, that she is not the type of actress who thought she would be at this stage. And she's expressing this extremely eloquently with grace. It also, her winning the Oscar would thematically underline the message of her film, which is older actresses, we see you and you're not worthless. You are not something to be chewed up and spit out. So that is so practically irresistible for Academy voters. And lately they've been showing that they're unafraid to go for veteran actresses in this category. People like Michelle Yeoh, people like Julianne Moore, repeat winners like Renee Zellweger and Frances McDormand, Olivia Colman, who, wasn't super known in America, but is not an ingenue. And so I look at all these factors and I go, that's very favorable to Demi Moore's chances. But then again, Mikey Madison's in the likely Best Picture winner. She won a BAFTA. She's an ingenue, which the Oscars still do like to award their ingenues.
Yeah.
So it is a coin toss. You just have to put your bet down at some point. And I think I just have a vision, just like I did with the Globes, of seeing Demi Moore holding the Oscar and giving an amazing speech. The people standing up in a way that I don't with Mikey Madison.
Right.
Granted, that is something so subjective and something not to put money down on. But at this point, when it's this close, you have to use factors like that, gut-checked instincts, to make your prediction.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Mikey Madison could win. But, I'm just with the BAFTA win, you could argue Honora has been surging, it's doing really well, but it's not doing extraordinarily well. It won nothing at SAG. It didn't even take ensemble. So it's not like Honora is everything everywhere all at once and it's just overperforming here at the end. It's not. Madison is very young, I can't imagine there's a lot of people like, we gotta give Mikey Madison the Oscar now. It would just be based on her phenomenal performance in that movie. You go back to Jennifer Lawrence won Best Actress at the Oscars for Silver Linings Playbook. She was young. She was 22. But she won at SAG, and you felt momentum shifting to Lawrence in the second half of that season. I'm not really feeling that for Madison. And then with Demi Moore, you have the substance in picture director. If that wasn't the case, if the substance, let's say, was only an actress, screenplay, makeup, I'd be a little nervous. You know, I think back to Glenn Close. We all thought Glenn Close was going to win. Or not, maybe not all of us, but like many of us thought that was happening. I mean, talk about a narrative. Why do you have that?
Because I have to watch it. So I got it from the library.
Okay.
For Kevin Jacobson's podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Glenn Close, she won Golden Globes. She tied at Critics' Choice, so she won. And then she won at SAG. She lost at BAFTA to Olivia Colman. So you could say, well, Colman, you know, she lost at SAG, and but Colman won Golden Globes. She won at BAFTA. Her movie, The Favorite, got 10 nominations. Glenn Close was the wife's only nomination. So I do think that's a different case. Like, The Substance did very well at the Oscars. It's in picture and director. And the last 3 years, we've seen the makeup acting win combo. And The Substance is winning makeup at the Oscars, like almost 100%. So I'm just like, you know, you could argue Madison. Some people are still going to go with Madison, and they will make their case. And it'll probably make sense. And it could be Madison. But I'm just, even though like Demi Moore's speech at SAG doesn't mean anything, Oscar voting closed days ago, I'm just like, if Demi can win SAG, I think it might be Demi. Like, I'm just feeling her. You know, it is a horror film, Cody. That does give me a little pause. It's kind of a gross film at times. You know, like when she lost at BAFTA, I went, uh-oh, like maybe the movie might be just a little bit too much for Academy voters and things, but I don't know. I think it's close. Like, I might be like at 54, 46. About there, maybe. You know, it's not 50-50. It's not 40-60. It's closer than that. But I think
it's too early for math.
By a smidge, Cody. I think it's gonna be Demi Moore.
Yeah. To your point, it's not like she's the film's only nomination. It's a Best Picture nominee. We can talk all we want about it not being typical Oscar fare, something the Academy will embrace. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it is nominated for Best Film of the Year by the Academy Awards. So, Oscar voters are watching it. And even if they watch it and they go, this is too much for me, and they turned off when it starts to get really gross in the last like 20 minutes,
she's out of it,
not in that part of the movie. So right. They've already seen all they need to see about Demi Moore to vote for her by that point.
She just, like, God, that would be a moment to see Demi Moore. Like, just someone I have adored since I was a kid, who's never really had, like, a big awards vehicle. As I talked about in my video, Demi Moore and the Elusive Oscar, like, Ghost was, like, the only one, really, that she had, like, a little chance, maybe? Because that got into picture, she got a Golden Globe nomination. But, like, you know, you look at her career, Cody, over the last 20 plus years, and there's not much. It's like a lot of titles we're not very familiar with. And she's been steadily working, and she finally got the role of a lifetime. And for this to happen for her, as much as I adore Madison and Honora, that is my choice for the performance of the year, I'm kind of leaning toward, like, wanting more to win at this point. She's won enough, and she's a veteran. She's an icon. I love her. And I want to hear what she has to say at the Oscars. I mean, that'll be a moment. So, you know, and I'm just like, The Substance is only going to win makeup? That doesn't feel right to me. It didn't feel right at BAFTA. That was weird. I feel like at the Oscars, The Substance wins too. And I think the second win is Demi Moore in Best Actress.
And I think a lot of Oscar voters, a lot of Academy voters, a lot of actors, specifically a lot of actresses, share your sentiment where they go, I want to see her holding an Oscar. And can't you just see it? Can't you see the vision of her up there on the stage? There's a standing ovation. I
for
feel
a horror
like,
film.
Yes. And I feel like, and this is no disrespect to Mikey Madsen, who's giving an amazing performance, she would make my personal ballot.
Yeah.
I feel like if Mikey Madsen wins, it's going to feel a little deflating. Like we had the opportunity, and we've all felt this way at one point or another when watching the Oscars, where we're happy for the winner, but it feels like, oh, you had your chance. You had your chance. And, you know, maybe this will spike a resurgence in Demi Moore's career. I hope it does. And this is not her only opportunity to win an Oscar, but it's her best one. ever. It's the best chance he's ever had. And also, the narrative fits so well with the message of her movie. It would just be the kind of perfect Oscar win that is talked about forever. Where the win makes sense with the career, makes sense with the movie. And it would just be wonderful. And I do hope it happens. And I think it's going to happen. I'm predicting her.
Okay.
But it's really, really, really close.
So we're in alignment this year. You went with Gladstone last year.
I did.
Yeah.
Which I look back and I realize in hindsight that was a little bit of a hopeful prediction. I'm hoping that this is not the case this year. But
yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, as you say, like, I don't want to take anything away from the future of Demi Moore's career. I'm hoping she gets some great parts and she comes back with another nomination in the next 2 to 4 years. That would be great. But there is this sense, like, this could be it. This could be the one time we can give Demi Moore an Oscar. Whereas Mikey Madison, like, she is going to get some really juicy roles in the next few years. The best directors are going to hire her. Like, any great director who watched Sonora, like, they're going to find something for her. She's so fantastic. So I'm like, you know, like, Madison is going to be back. Like this is not the one and done for her here. Whereas Demi Moore, you know, who knows what'll happen next, but I just feel like this is our chance to give a trophy to her at the Oscars. So I just feel like even if it's super close, it's looking like Moore can do it. We should talk, Cody, about Fernanda Torres. How are we feeling about her chances?
A lovely bronze medal recipient. I am so sorry, Brazil. I know that she did not have the chance to win anything after the Globe, so it's not like she lost anything thus far.
She hasn't lost anything.
So much of the race has been gobbled up at this point by Demi Moore and Mikey Madison, that I just don't think there's room for her to get the votes. I think so many of the votes are going to be going in those directions, which now I'm hearing that, and I know people are going to go, well, that means that she can come up the middle and split the votes. That just doesn't happen at the Oscars. It just doesn't happen.
It would be
the only really
wild
time you can argue that happened was Adrian Brody's first win, where he came up between Daniel Day-Lewis and Jack Nicholson. You can argue that. I don't think that's happening this year. I think if I'm Still Here had a stronger campaign earlier, or if more people saw it earlier, it would be a stronger contender. It would probably have gotten a nomination in one of the writing categories. I do think it's winning international feature. Fabulous.
Are we still feeling that? I've had some people, some people I trust have been like, guys, it's 13 nominations. It's going to be Emilia Perez. I've seen some people voice that opinion. We're going with I'm Still Here. Which is why
it's winning Best Picture, Brian. It's the Best Picture frontrunner.
I still think it's I'm Still Here for international feature.
I'm predicting it. It is still hard to call.
It's close, yeah.
It's very close. And if Emilia Perez wins, I'll go, duh, Cody. Come on.
Yeah, but that will be probably the maybe the top win of the night, where we're both like, yeah.
It'll also be
that
weird
was hope-dicting.
Right. It would also be weird if I'm Still Here won international feature, or rather, if it won Best Actress but not international feature. So I don't know. There's just it would just be weird for it to win like 2 of its 3 Oscars. There's a lot of room for weirdness this year's Oscars.
Yeah, I think for Torres to win at the Oscars, we needed some more chaos in actress. Cynthia Erivo needed to win at SAG, and Critics' Choice, should have been Madison or like something kind of like out of nowhere. I just feel like Demi has won enough. I'm just like, and with Honora surging and doing so well, I can't imagine that Torres can overtake both of those performances at this point. That would be crazy.
It's hard in the modern Oscars voting to win with just a Globe win. And just a Globe nomination. I can't think off the top of my head the last time that happened. So
yeah, it's not the 70s where it's like just the Globes and then the Oscars.
Yeah. It's not even the 90s. It's like a much different Academy makeup.
Yeah.
So she's clearly third place. Maybe second place. I don't know. Probably not.
I mean, the question mark with Torres is that she has never been in a category with Madison and Moore. So some people might argue, well, we've never seen the 3 of them together in a category, so maybe Torres can do it and shock the world.
I hear that.
I wouldn't say
it would be
impossible.
Shocking. No,
I wouldn't
nothing's
say it's
impossible.
like 100%. Like
Carlos
not
Sevilla
happening.
Gascon winning is impossible. That I will say.
That one, I don't.
She is
think
the least
happening.
likely of all 20 acting nominees to win. Regardless, to your point, I think if there was more chaos in this race, if this was a 2020 where
2020.
every
We needed
major
2020.
category went to a different performer, I would happily entertain an argument that Fernanda Torres could win this.
Yeah.
I don't think realistically that's going to happen now.
Yeah.
Especially because it is so contentious between two other performers who have more important prizes. And again, that doesn't...
Yeah.
I know that Fernanda Torres was not even nominated there, but then again I go, she wasn't nominated. And I know that I'm Still Here surged late, so voters didn't have as much of a chance to see it. I understand all that. But I just think if you were going up against people who won the BAFTA and the SAG, that's a really, really... I would not want to be Fernanda Torres in that position if I was hoping to win an Oscar.
Yeah. If Marianne Jean-Baptiste had won Best Actress at Critics' Choice, and Cynthia Erivo had won Best Actress at SAG, then I'd be predicting Fernanda Torres right now.
Sure.
There'd be too much chaos.
That sounds fun.
But yeah,
I like that
right?
alternate universe.
If it was a 2020 year and it was just someone new at every ceremony, then I'd be going with Torres pretty confidently, I would say, actually. I would be like, yep, it's going to be Torres.
Yeah, Best Picture nominee, etc.
But there's not enough evidence right now outside of passion for her, of course, and she's so great in that film. It'd be a really great win. Like, she's fantastic in that movie. I just don't think it can happen at this point.
If you want to make a prediction based on generalized passion, the strength of a movie that, frankly, is not really as strong as the other two frontrunners for this same award, and a bit of hope, more power to you. Love it. I love unpredictable predictions. Every now and then it happens and you get it right, and it's the best feeling in the world. I can say this from experience. But I'm not going to be doing that this year in this category.
Yeah, imagine if, like, you and one other person went with Torres, and the rest of the world they went with Madison or more, and then they announced the winner as Torres. I mean, that was a little bit me last year, Cody, when almost everybody went with Gladstone. And I think me and, like, Luke Herefield, like 2 or 3 of us who do this, like, stuck with Stone. And when Stone won, I mean, that was the moment. I was like, yes.
And again, looking back last year, I do think a lot of the Lily Gladstone predictions, while well-founded, I will say, SAG and Golden Globe is not nothing. People have won the Oscar with that. I think it was a little bit of wishful thinking. And I think Emma Stone, looking back, it's like, duh. Much stronger Best Picture contender. Previous winner, they love her. She made a lot of people a lot of money. You know, the BAFTA is not nothing with the Globe. So, but this race is different. This year is different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in a good position here, Cody, because if I'm predicting more. If it turns out to be Madison, I'm going to be thrilled. I'm not going to be like, ugh. I'm going to be like, oh shit, great.
She'll be a great winner. It's
my
a great
favorite performance of the year. My favorite movie of the year. So in a way, it's kind of weird for me that I'm like, I'm kind of like distancing myself from Madison when last year, my favorite performance was Emma Stone in Poor Things, and I went all in on her. This year, I'm going with, one of my other favorite performances of the year by an actress I've adored since I was a kid, Demi Moore. In a very close race, I think Moore is going to pull it out. I think it's going to happen. But it could be Madison too, and that will not shock me, and I will also be happy. So I'm at a good place. As I've said, like I tweeted out, like, we win either way.
What noise are you going to make when Demi Moore or Mikey Madison wins?
Okay, so Madison wins. From my seat, I'll go, oh, awesome, yay! And then if it's Moore, I can't do it here, Cody, because I might swear.
Okay.
In a very enthusiastic manner. I will be jumping up and cheering if it's Moore. I'm not going to jump up for Madison. I'll be very happy and thrilled for her from my seats. But Moore will be, as has been the case with Emma Stone and Michelle Yeoh, I will be screaming, jumping up, running around, and very, very happy for a good 20 to 30 seconds. Someone might film me, Cody. So look forward to that, everybody.
Okay. Nobody's filming me. No.
So, yeah, I like, what a moment that's going to be. I'm going to be kind of emotional, Cody, for Demi Moore to win. Like, that would be
I
great.
agree. I think if Mikey Madison wins, I'll go, oh. And then if Demi Moore wins, I'll go,
Yeah. That's what you're gonna. If after all these months and all these talks, Demi Moore wins, you're gonna go.
It's a
That's
sign
all
of
you're gonna
respect. Kind of a knowing nod.
You don't have
and
more
a bit of
excitement than
relief.
that?
I'm focused. I have to.
You're focused.
I'm very focused when I watch. I'm one of those annoying people who's like, everybody be
You have like
quiet,
a
turn the volume
notepad?
up, sit 5 inches from the TV. Yeah, I'm one of those. I do bring my notebook. To the
Oh my
house.
god, Cody and his little notebook.
You saw me as
Got
a
that
wrong. That's an amazing
I am an
impression of me.
emotional Oscar watcher, man. I'm emotional. I get like during Best Actress, Cody, the last 2 years with Yo and Stone, I was like, I mean, that minute before they read the winner,
Mhm.
I get like tense
You get that feeling?
and
Yeah.
like, I'm like, what's gonna happen? Just being such an Oscar buff, knowing who wins this. This is in the history books forever, and it's just
Mhm.
an actress is my favorite category. I want them to get it right. I want it to be a special moment. I think the special moment this year is going to be Demi Moore for The Substance.
I agree. I'm predicting her. Again, it is very close. Anybody predicting Maggie Madison, hats off to you.
Mhm.
Totally respect that. Maybe in the next... I almost guarantee this. In the next few days, I'll probably panic and maybe consider switching.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell myself don't do it because voting is closed. There's nothing that can affect it. So, yes, I'm predicting Demi Moore.
All right. Yeah. I mean, again, Madison could do it. It won't be a surprise. But if she wins, I'll be thrilled. And if Demi Moore wins, which I am predicting, I am gonna go absolutely batshit crazy, everybody. So watch out for that reaction video. Like if Demi Moore takes it, I'm gonna be just so excited. Cody, our final prediction to win Best Actress at the Oscars is Demi Moore, The Substance. Well, Cody, this has been so much fun. We've predicted all 23 of the categories together. I'm feeling pretty good about most of them. 90%
you.
maybe.
There's like 4 categories. I'm like, don't worry about it. I could skip the Oscars.
Okay, 4?
Like me a bathroom break and I'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah, supporting and costumes and visual effects and I'd say are probably.
But this has been so much fun, Cody. We will have you back after the show. We got to do one more chat about everyone and everything that took gold trophies at the 97th Academy Awards. So we will have that final chat for you like Tuesday, Wednesday after the show coming up. But as we wrap up here, Cody, if you can tell our viewers where they can find you online, now would be the time.
You can find my writing and podcasting at Next Best Picture and Awards Watch. I'm on all social media at CodyMonster91. And check out my horror movie podcast, Halloweeners.
All right. Thanks again, Cody. And let us know in the comments below, who are you predicting to win the Oscars in the acting categories? And I will see you next time at the Awards Contender.